Welcome back. It's a special edition of the Sports Zone. I'm Scot, Hafley, Athletic Director, Wichita Falls ISD. You are here on the most watched sports show in Wichita Falls. I've got MJ Baird, Channel 3, KFDX, who every time he sees me, he says, what? When can I be on your show?
Absolutely. I've been dying to get on here.
I know. Well, it's a long list. I mean, it's a really long list, and it's hard to get on the show. In fact, I scratched a couple of people to get you in here today.
Wow, I really appreciate that, Scott.
Absolutely,
Thank you so much.
All right, MJ, right out of the gate, we got to talk about where you're from.
Okay.
Because you are not from Wichita Falls, and you are not from Texas.
No.
You are from Boston, Massachusetts, which is a long ways from here.
Northeast, born and raised. New England's all I know.
New England is... Well, it's about time you guys. So you didn't know what a chicken fried steak was until you moved here.
Had no idea. There's so many things I didn't know.
We can talk chicken fried steak later. Let's go back to Boston.
Okay.
Tell us where in Boston you grew up.
Yeah, so the way I explain it to people, like if you got Boston, the major city, and Cape Cod's down here, I'm right in the middle. Kind of like a suburb of Boston, closer to Cape Cod.
Is that anywhere near the marshes where they buried all the bodies in the Whitey Bulger movies?
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay. Have you ever been to the marshes?
There's a lot of marshes that I live around.
Can you say marshes correctly for a Boston fan that's watching?
Marshes?
Marshes.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
marshes, yeah.
All right. See.
Yeah.
All right. So you grow up in Boston, and you were involved in sports. You were a hockey player. Okay, which around here is pretty rare. We have a hockey team right now.
Yeah.
But tell us, how one gets into hockey growing up in the Northeast.
Well, it's kind of like football down here, right? You know, my dad had me on skates from the day I could walk pretty much. You get skates on, you're holding on to milk crates or what have you to move around the ice. And that evolved. I eventually got a stick in my hand, then you got pucks on the ice. And it's kind of the thing up there, right? It's the football down here. I always tell people when I came down here and experienced what high school football was like, it reminded me most of some of the sports up north like hockey. That's what a lot of people do. That being said, it kind of evolved. I played for my high school team. I got into officiating hockey. I'm also a certified ref, so I love doing that kind of on the side, although haven't gotten to do it down here all too much. But you brought up the Wichita Falls Warriors. It's nice to kind of get my hockey fix here in Wichita Falls.
That's awesome. Now, what position in hockey did you play?
I started off as a forward. I eventually moved to defense by the time I was in high school.
Now, a forward goes towards the goal.
Yes.
Okay. But when you say you moved to defense,
Yes.
explain what that means in hockey when you move to defense.
Yeah, it's really, for me, it was more like height related, to be honest with you. I was losing battles in front of the net because I got a big defenseman and me a small forward. Usually that kind of is advantageous to be smaller, but I'm also not fast. So I moved back to,
and I'm slow.
Correct. I moved back to defense. I've always had a good skating ability, backwards skating, good curves, turns, things like that. It worked to my advantage more as a defender.
Okay, got it. And so really, as a side hustle here in Wichita Falls, you could give skating lessons.
I could.
Yeah, so anybody who wants to play hockey needs to call you because there's nobody else in Wichita Falls that's going to know how to skate.
They could call me, but I don't really have any ice for them to go to. They could call it the Wichita Falls Warriors, who have a Learn to Skate program. Get your kids involved.
There you go. Look at you plug in the Warriors hockey. They're going to appreciate that. All right, man, so you leave Boston, you graduate high school, and you're headed to college, Quinnipiac, sorry, and that's in Connecticut.
That is.
All right, so, and for anybody who didn't, it's like me, I thought it was a town. That's actually a university.
Quinnipiac University, QU.
Right. And so that's where you got into journalism. Talk to us about getting started in the journalism field.
So we're the Bobcats at QU.
Okay.
Roar. Going to college, I knew I wanted to get into sports journalism somehow. Didn't really know how I wanted to do it. That being said, once I got there, it was so many opportunities. We had a student-run television station, student-run sports broadcast network, play-by-play in color for all the games. I latched onto hockey. Being a hockey guy, I wanted to cover the hockey team there. And I don't expect people to know this, but Quinnipiac actually is a nationally ranked hockey team. My freshman year, they made it to the national championship, lost to North Dakota. But that was, I look back on it, still a highlight of my college career as a freshman, going from Connecticut, traveling to Tampa, Florida to cover the national championship.
Cool.
It was awesome. And this is Division I. People may not know the name Quinnipiac other than maybe the political poll. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Hey, it's Quinnipiac. We're polling for Democrats,
I don't
Republicans.
think they call me that often.
Well,
but
you know what I mean. The other reason people may know Quinnipiac is because they're a really good hockey team. So
now they're Division I hockey.
Correct.
Are they Division I anything else or just hockey?
Everything else.
But they don't play. They don't have a football team.
Don't have a football team.
Okay.
That's why no one knows about them. It's you get to this point where it's like, okay, Division I athletics, field hockey, men's soccer, women's soccer. They play in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. They play in the Big East. But they don't have a football team. So people are like, oh, okay. So again, that goes back to my earlier point. I come down to Texas, where not only is high school football king, college football,
So what really
caught me
we're
off
saying
guard.
is any of our high school teams, any of our high school football teams could beat Quinnipiac in football now.
Well, hold on. Quinnipiac's never lost a football game.
Oh, they're undefeated, yeah.
Correct.
But I'm going to go ahead and put money on our kids over there.
Yes, I would too.
Okay.
I would too.
So D1, and you get into journalism. You'll have to forgive me because I've never been in journalism.
Sure.
How does one determine where you're headed? Like, you're going to be on ESPN, you're going to be a writer for the newspaper. How does all of that work out for you?
I'd say it's niche related, right? What did I feel most comfortable doing? For me, it was sitting at a desk, talking to a camera and another person. I think I quickly found that I like writing. I like writing game stories or feature stories, but I prefer to do it in more of a video means, audio means, things like that. So that's kind of you. I think you make that decision early because your first couple of years you're trying everything.
Right.
Okay, what do I like more, this or that? For me, it was the broadcast versus the print side of things. So then you dive more deep into that, like you said. Do you want to go like the sports network route? Do you want to go the local news route? Do you want to try to jump in, get a play-by-play or color gig for a team or a league? I was open to all avenues. By the time it came to graduation, I applied to jobs in all of those fields. KFDX was one of the first ones. I shouldn't say one of the first ones that came about because it was very long into the process that I actually got an interview, but the first one that I got that I liked, that I accepted. I had gotten a couple offers before that. Montana, Idaho. Didn't feel comfortable going to that part of the country. I will say this, Wichita Falls, Texas was foreign to me, but once I got to...
Wichita Falls over Montana, that might have been a suspect decision.
Really? Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah, Big Sky, Montana ski resort.
But you got to remember, I've
been there. It's beautiful.
I'm sure it is, and I'd love to ski. I miss skiing. There's no skiing in Wichita Falls, unfortunately. I got to get up to Colorado. But just the sports coverage, and then when I got to Tobin sold me when I talked to him on the phone, so that was easy.
Tobin sold you on Wichita. We're gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to get his recruiting methods on how to sell Wichita Falls if he can sell it over Bozeman, Montana. All right, so you take the job at KF. This is your first official job out of college. Yeah. I didn't realize that. And you've been here almost 3 years.
2 years and a month.
Okay, a little over 2 years then. So you talk about all those different avenues. Where do you feel like right now your career's headed?
Yeah, the short answer is I don't know. I'd be open to anything. I think, I kind of look at people in the industry and say, oh, I'd love to do that, or I'd love to do that. Mm-hmm. I love watching Scott Van Pelt on his own show every night on ESPN. I always rave about him. But then at the same time, I could see more of maybe like a Bob Costas role, right, at NBC Sports, where he did a little bit of everything. He was the face of all their sports coverage. So I don't know. I can see taking the local news route to a point that maybe regional opportunity comes up. But it could also be something different. I could go from this to become a play-by-play reporter or a play-by-play commentator. I don't know. Okay. I really don't know. It's all up in the air.
You got time to figure it out.
I do.
There's obviously there's a lot more to it and a lot more different opportunities out there than what I understood. So I've made the comment before, newscasters, they change jobs like they change socks. Like, you guys are always on the move until you get to where you want to be. Mm-hmm. But it seems like here in Wichita Falls, you've already made a pretty good name for yourself. All of our coaches enjoy talking to you. The players all recognize you. And one of the cool things you do, MJ's motivation. So tell us where that came from and what you try to set up for each week for MJ's motivation. Sure. Because that's actually the one part of the news that I watch.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
So yeah, I've always kind of just had a knack for talking big picture stuff, believing in that kind of stuff, and when I came here, it wasn't probably till about 6 months in when we have a longer sports show on Sunday nights, and you're kind of looking at a little more freedom to do things how you want, and I'm like, let me end the show with like a piece of positivity. And it just started as that. And then a couple weeks later, I'm like, I need to name this segment. MJ's motivation came off the tongue. And then I went to our graphics department. Hey, can we get a graphic and like a little intro for this? Yeah, no problem. Bang, bang. Everyone's nothing but good things to say about it. It's just a little, it airs Sunday night, but most people maybe see it Monday morning. Yeah. Monday motivation, MJ's motivation, just a little something to get you started for the week. I like to talk.
I like it. It's fun. It's fun. So, in your 2 years and 1 month here, what's been your best sporting event that you've been at?
Best single event?
Best single event. You got to choose one thing that's the one that so far stands out.
I hope you don't get mad. It's not a WFISD.
I'm not going to get mad.
Okay. It's the Winthor State Championship game last year at AT&T Stadium.
Great game.
I mean, you got to think 2 years ago I got here middle of the season. Really still, I didn't know coaches. I didn't know players. I'm faking it till you make it.
Right.
Last year I get a whole season, learn to talk to coaches, know who they are, know who their teams are, and I covered them, front to back. So to see that pay off in the form of a state championship for Winthorst was really cool. I had been to AT&T Stadium, but not for a football game. I still haven't been for a Cowboys game, but I've been for a state championship. So it was how do I say this? There were COVID restrictions in place at the time, so maybe it wasn't to its full extent.
Right.
Maybe the Hershey Huskies can get us back there this
2
year.
weeks away.
There we go. But that's got to be the one single event that I love the most.
Okay, great. Well, take us through the final play of that game where they scored the winning touchdown.
So Tobin and I were both there. We were shooting this game with 2 cameras. I was behind the end zone on the side they were scoring. So and we couldn't be on the field.
Right.
So they had blocked off like the first maybe 10 rows of seating for any media or people taking photos. So I got the camera on my shoulder. They're coming at me for this 2-point conversion. Well, hold on. Let's go back. They scored the touchdown.
Yeah. Then they got the 2-point conversion.
Well, then they kick it, and he misses it, but they're offsides. Yeah. Okay, let's do it again. Or I think he made it. Whatever. They decide to go for 2. So then, literally, it's a direct snap to Ethan Belcher. He's running right at me. They push Kyle Wolf out to the left. Ethan Belcher's coming right at me. I wish I was on the field because he would have. You love the shot as a sportscaster, right? When the guy's running right at you, maybe they celebrate in the camera a little bit. If I was on the field, he literally would have ran right at me, but he was at my angle. Yeah. So we had a great angle of that touchdown play or that 2-point conversion. And at that point, there was still 50-something seconds on the clock, so they had to kick off and all that. So I wish they could have celebrated right then and there, but it was a little delayed.
That place goes nuts, though.
It does. And I got to tell you, the whole town of Winthorst, probably half of Archer City, hopefully a lot of people from Texoma got to see that live.
I think so. It's on television live.
Yeah.
So I was watching it on TV, and it was amazing. But the times I've been to the state championship, it doesn't matter if you go at, for the 11 a.m. kickoff or the 7 p.m. kickoff. As far as high school football feels, it is packed, and it is loud. And I coached there one time, got to coach in a playoff game there one time. Great experience. I have better memories of coaching at the original Irving Stadium because we actually won that game. But being in Cowboy Stadium is really cool for our high school kids. That's a memory for those Winthorst kids. You're never gonna replace that. That's gonna live with them forever.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
It's my first full year covering Texas high school football, and I get to cover a state championship team. So cool.
Very cool. All right. So outside of our local sports, what other than hockey? What's your favorite sport to either participate in, watch? What do you like?
Sure. I would probably say participate and watch. I love golf.
Okay.
I'm a golfer. I play. I've seen Coach Wiley out on the course a couple times.
That's scary.
I got to get out there.
Him swing. It's not
well,
pretty.
we haven't gone head to head yet. I'll wait. Let him get through his playoff run first.
If you don't beat him, then you're not a golfer.
Well, I may not beat him, so that's fine. Highlights for me every year is like watching the Masters.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite things.
Who's your favorite golfer?
Okay, so I'm a little bit partial here. A friend of mine is a pro golfer, Bo Van Pelt,
Sure.
Older guy, kind of. He's on the tour right now, but he has been in the past. So he's obviously got to be number one. But as far as like the big names go, I'm a lefty. So Phil Mickelson's up there for me.
Okay. Well,
obviously
everyone loves
Tiger.
Phil.
I don't. There's no Phil Tiger hate for me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not picking a side. I love them both. And I really hope Tiger can get back out on the course.
Well, sure, because then there'll just be that much more money to be made for everybody.
This is true.
Everyone's hoping that he get all the golfers want him back out there. Yeah. He brings a crowd. So I love Phil. I love the way he plays the short game. So I went to high school with Angela Stanford, who still plays on the LPGA Tour. She won her first major 2 years ago. She's 2 years younger than me. But she was a basketball star at Boswell, and then went to played golf, went to TCU, and has been on the tour. So my wife is a TCU grad, so we always follow Angela. She's our favorite pro golfer, and I still shoot Angela text messages when she plays well, and she always answers back, "Who is this?" So I don't think she's not a fan of mine. Maybe she's gonna start.
She's gonna watch the show. Yeah,
probably she'll. Yeah. I mean, it'll work its way to her. But yeah, I'm with you on golf. Love to play golf. I'm in a bit of a slump right now. It's about a 3-month slump.
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed in myself, but I'm gonna get through it.
It's football season. It's okay.
It's really not. There's no good time to not play well in golf when that's all you get out and do for fun. So, all right. Well, MJ, number one, thanks for being on the show. Is there anything else? Because it'll probably be 2 or 3 years before you work your way back up to the top of my list. What else do our viewers? What do you want to say to our Wichita Falls viewers before we got to close this thing out tonight?
I would just say, thanks to everybody that watches us. I mean, I hear so many things, a lot of good, some bad, but I just appreciate people watching us. Always get feedback from people. They like this. Can you do this differently? Would you be interested in this? And then other thing, people will text me, hey, are you interested in this for a possible, human interest story or feature story or whatever it is. Yeah. People are always willing to come up and talk to me. I think the high school athletes, I could do a little better job with them. Just, they're 16, 17, 18-year-old. They might feel more uncomfortable. But the adults, the coaches, their parents, I think they find it weird when I'm having a conversation with their parent about them. But it's like, come on, I'm only 24. I'm 5 years older than you. Let's have a conversation.
That's
they're young.
That's high school
kids
everywhere. So don't worry about that. All right, how about this? How about you finish with this?
Okay.
We got the Huskies going to the state semifinals on Friday night, trying to get to a state championship. Give a off-the-cuff MJ's motivation to the Hershey Huskies getting ready for the state semifinals.
Is this going to air before the game?
Absolutely. We're going to air it almost immediately. Chad,
perfect.
We've got 90,000 people waiting to watch it, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Come on, Chad. 92,000. 92,000 people waiting to watch this.
Wow. So. Okay, so there's a lot of pressure now. Okay. Let's see. Well, they've been talking a lot about, wanting to make history before we consolidate to 2 schools here at the WFISD. So I would just say, they're chasing a dream, right? I actually heard this on a song the other day. Here you go. This is how I get my motivation, by the way. You better chase your dreams because your dreams ain't going to chase you back.
Is that Adele?
No, I don't think so. It was a country song.
Oh, it was a country song. Okay.
I don't know. I should give the guy credit, but it was a guy singing, so it's not Adele. I mean, it's a small thing to us as probably not on the Hershey football team, but they're trying to do something special here before Hershey turns into a middle school. So let's hope they can do it. Chase your dreams; they won't chase you back.
That's absolutely, man. Awesome. Love it. Had a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys next time.